Welcome to the Elevate Media Podcast with your host, Chris Anderson. In this show, Chris and his guests will share their knowledge and experience on how to go from zero to successful entrepreneur. They have built their businesses from scratch and are now ready to give back to those who are just starting. Let's get ready to learn, grow, and elevate our businesses. And now, your host, Chris Anderson.
Just got done doing a brand story video for a client. Clay was here helping out. He's doing his own thing, but we love partnering with other filmmakers. And so I wanted to kind of get his story, share a little bit about what he's doing, what he's learned, so we can all learn from him, so we can all elevate our lives, our businesses, and go out there and, keep crushing it. So Clay, dude, thanks for helping today.
Hey, anytime.
Thanks for being on the show. I'm super excited to chat with you today. Tell people what you do, what your kind of niche is, and what got you started in it.
Yeah. So we'll bring it back here a little bit. I started pretty much a couple years ago, my senior year of high school, started making my own videos, more on the fitness side of things, I guess you could say. And then started getting a good following on TikTok after that. Noticed, hey, I might have some passion in this. I've got a good following behind it. There's a fan base. I'm like, I might as well just kind of pursue that fully. So that ended up to me going into my senior year of college, actually, which is kind of interesting that kind of panned out perfectly. Picked up my own camera, started shooting for the track team I was on at the time, and everything kind of flourished from there. Started shooting for them, then started shooting for IUK, the college I went to, under them for all their sports, and now it's flourished into doing anything from business ads, doing weddings, doing sports shoots, portraits, families. I mean, anything in between. It seems, though, that my niche has began to be more in the sports world, just because that's what I'm most passionate about, but I definitely will go and venture into any setting. I do not discriminate between any which one. I love just anything behind the camera kind of at that point.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love it. And I love seeing people's journeys, when they're starting out and, things they go through and then kind of figuring it all out. And, caveat to what we're sitting like this, usually we'd have a little bit different setup of how we're sitting so we can see each other better. But this is how we had it for the shoot, the testimonial, the brand story video we did. Is why not just use it, right? Why not just use what we've already done? Create some video and content out of it. So when you're doing that, make sure if you're in these spaces, utilize it for more than just what you're originally using it for. And so that's kind of why we have this setup. We're kind of sitting awkwardly a little bit with this, but it's part of it. You make it work. So Clay, talking about making it work, right? You took a chance. You got the camera. You started figuring things out. What has been so far along your journey, because you're young still, which is awesome, along your journey, an obstacle that you've had to overcome, or the biggest one you've had to overcome to make it work?
Oh man, there's a couple, but I would say the main one is kind of trusting your gut and not going by what everyone says you should do. Like, go get steady 9 to 5, go get a steady paycheck, don't take a risk on yourself. It's risky. That's the word you're going to hear over and over again. That's the thing I've been hearing the most out of all of this is don't like with how the world is economically right now, you need a steady paycheck. That's in theory. But how young I am right now, I figured why not take a risk now? So just taking that, throwing it to the side and trusting in yourself, doing what you're passionate about, because 30 years down the line, I would rather say, hey, I took a risk on myself now than looking back at 50 and be like, man, I think I should try now, and I already have kids, family, everything set up, and you're like, man, now's a good time to go, and you already have everyone depending on you, whether it's family, relationships, and everything, and just not the right time. So figure what better time than now, and that's kind of what I've lived on.
Sure. No, I think that's great advice to listen to for a lot of people, because you keep putting stuff off, eventually it's just too late. And, I've heard it said that the graveyard is the richest place on earth, because where so many people, so many ideas and possibilities go to die, and so many missed opportunities because of that. And so, I think that's right on. And, as you've been building your videographer business, what are some things that you didn't realize was part of it that you're like, oh, I need to figure that out, or I never thought about that? Anything stick out in your mind?
Biggest one to be that I first hit was lighting. Lighting was one of the craziest things that I wasn't used to. Of all around us right now, we have lights bouncing off this wall. I mean, it's everywhere. So getting a general understanding of lighting, of which way is which, and then also the business aspect of it, because I could be as passionate about it. I've heard the phrase like a starving artist for a while now. And I definitely don't want to fall into that category of buy more gear, buy more gear, buy more gear, and don't expand on your knowledge more so than anything. So definitely leaning into being more knowledgeable and not just going out and spinning on the next big thing to try to expand myself and more nailing down on what I have now to utilize. Because I don't want to get to the point where I just keep buying gear and I'm not making any profit off anything. It's just you keep buying more gear and then you eventually go broke just trying to up one and not looking more into your knowledge more than anything.
Yeah, I think knowledge and skill set is huge. And, from my perspective, like I'm opposite of you guys and Kevin over here behind the cameras and, Sam, Godfrey, everyone else we've worked with in the past. Like, you guys have skills that I don't have with the camera. Like, I'm decent with the camera. I can make some cool things, but not to your guys' level. I have like the business side, and it's like, so I can invest more and more in gear, but I need to invest in people, and I need to bring a team and bring people who can support to incorporate that vision. And I think it's a balancing act. Sometimes it is good to get a good equipment so you can get the right shot and better shots, but also like when it's too much, and then when do you need to invest in yourself? And so I think that's a really wise thing of understanding that and going out. What would you say differentiates you between other freelance videographers that's helped you grow and gain more clientele? What's something you've maybe done differently that you think they could do listening to this? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, this is what I've done. It's been helpful for me.
I would say definitely creating your own style more than anything. I am probably one of the worst at the going and looking online, Instagram, TikTok, seeing these insane edited videos, these crazy things, and be like, all right, I'm going to put this down next to my storyboard and I'm going to try to copy this exactly like that and try to make that. And I figured out that it's just your copycatting pretty much at the end of the day. You want to create your own style. I want to be more personalized towards my client, where they're like, hey, I love your style. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, you look like that other guy over there. I can go get this somewhere else. I want to have a very personalized, stylistic look that you can't find anywhere else. And when people go and look, they're like, that's like Brubaker film style. Like, I want to create that sort of brand behind me that when people see it, whether it's a random photo at a wedding or a random sports photo, they're like, oh, I know exactly who took that by his style. So that's my biggest thing right now.
Yeah, I think that's great is finding that, like that flavor that's yours, that what sets you apart, what makes you different, and just leaning into that and just owning it. Like this is what we're good at, because you can do a bunch of different little things, but if you have your main, like this is what we're good at, this is what we really want to focus on, and people will know, like that's Brubaker Films, that's Clay's stuff, and I think that's cool. And what you said too about social media, the comparison game we do, and the crazy thing is too, like social media is just a highlight reel, right? You only see good stuff on social media for the most part. We try to share not so good stuff sometimes, but majority is just a highlight reel. And so when you're comparing, man, it's a thief of joy, right? Comparison's a thief of joy, and you are trying to compare like your chapter 3 to someone's chapter 20 that's been doing it for like 2-3 decades, and you've just started, so they've had a little bit of time to iron things out and figure all that out. So, how do you approach those moments where maybe you get frustrated or maybe you get a little discouraged because maybe you're not bringing in all the clients you want to, or it's just a struggle? I mean, how do you get yourself through that?
I would say more so sitting back, going back to kind of the drawing board and be like, all right, so realizing where I'm at in my journey. I've been doing this since, say, December of last year. So right pretty much a little over a year now. And looking and being like, hey, I've been doing this for a year. There's people that have been doing this 5-10 years. Don't compare myself to them and expect to be on that same level. I have a lot of good friends, mentors. I know Addie Taggis was a big one. She told me, hey, it took me years to make what like you're getting to like now. Like, it's insane to see the progress that you can make in a year. But just definitely being patient and not looking so much at where I should be and looking more in the moment and worried about where I am now, what I can do in this moment to make myself better, say 5-10 years from now.
Yeah. And it's a hard thing to do, because like we want to accomplish, we want to get to certain levels, we want to make so much money and help so many people and make a difference. And, I heard it said, you're right where you should be. You're right where you need to be. And if we didn't have this moment, we wouldn't learn the lesson that we need to. We wouldn't go through that trial. We want to have that success. We want to meet that person that's going to be crucial as we build, the business going forward. And so I think that's awesome is, accepting the moment you're in and be like, this is cool. This is where I'm at. Like, look where I've come from. This is where I'm at. And I'm just going to take one step forward and keep moving forward. And I think, at least for me, and I don't know for you, like thinking back to when you started, not long ago, like Elevate started 2021. It seems like such a long time because, we were grinding, we're putting a lot of work into it, but it also seems like super short. Like, okay, I get it. I'm not been doing this long enough to be at the same level as those guys. Like being humble enough to accept that. Like, have you noticed that like the time is weird with the journey?
I would definitely say that. Yeah, time feels definitely warped to a point. It feels like I look back at something I've done like 6-8 months ago. It's like, that feels like yesterday. Right. And then I'll go and look back at something from like 12-15 months ago. I'll be like, I don't even remember that guy. Like, that guy does not seem like the same person at all. So it's definitely feels warped to a point. It feels like some of those things were just yesterday I was doing. And then some are like looking back at some of my editing styles and how I was shooting things. It was like, that doesn't seem like the same person at all compared to where I am now in this journey. So
yeah, it's crazy to just see that and like just almost in all, like, because you've had success and you've had that growth and it's like, wow, it might feel like forever getting to this point, but it hasn't been long. And like, so that to me, it's like kind of reassuring, like, okay, it hasn't been long. So like, if I just can stick with this and keep learning, keep innovating, keep improving, 2 more years from now, 3 more, 5 more years from now, holy crap, like where could we be?
Yeah.
Like it's insane to think about, as long as you don't give up, right? Where we could be in the future. Like, I don't know. I'm weird, I guess. I think about stuff like that, but, with you right now though, what are some things, and you can answer as deep or as not deep as you want on this, some things personally or even in the business side of things that you're like currently trying to work on to improve? Is there something specific that you're trying to get better at?
Oh, my biggest one, I would definitely say right now is time management. Being able to manage, whether it be work-life balance, whether it be still keeping my exercise into account when I'm doing all these different things, keeping my well-being at definitely a higher level. But I definitely want to be able to balance my personal brand also with my business side of the brand, and I want to mesh those two together. That's my biggest one right now because I think people look more into buying from the person than more from the brand. So if I can build myself up as a character that people can relate to and people can consistently look to and be like, oh, I like that guy, I want to buy from him, more than like, oh, that's a cool brand, like, sure, I'll buy from him. I want them more to be believing in me as a person and enjoy my content and then go look at my content from me personally. So definitely building up my personal brand more than anything and being able to manage my time and not burn myself out more than anything. I know it's a grind every single day, hours on end editing, but I definitely want to be better at managing my time, give more to my family and more to my loved ones, and not totally throw that aside and be like, all right, all nails down, because look at 10 years down the road, I could lose all of that going too far down this way. So I want to definitely get a good balance, but definitely hit my goals as I go through there.
That's awesome. And it's a good mindset to have. I'm trying to figure that out, to have that harmony with life and business and everything else that, comes our way with that. So, if you were to talk to someone who's kind of just early on, maybe 8 months ago, 12 months ago, what would be one word of advice you'd give them right now as they're starting out?
Man, probably biggest word of advice looking back at that point is going back to the stylistic aspect of it is, don't compare. The comparison, like you said, is the thief of joy. Quit looking so far forward at people that are 10, 20 years down the road. Focus on you in this moment, what you can do now to progress yourself, and not compare so much to people that have so many more resources. Say they have thousands of dollars worth in gear. You have a $600 camera. Focus on what you have available to you that you can create and not look so far. Even if it's an iPhone, like just you grind a year on your iPhone, focus heavily on what you can do to master your craft more than anything. So I guess it would come down to mastering your craft and not just trying to buy your way through as much as you can.
For sure. I think that's great advice. So, man, I'm thankful for you. Thankful for your help today. Thankful for you to being on the the show today as well. Excited to put that out there. And, if you're out there listening to this, if you know someone who's starting out on their journey, whether it be in business, freelancing, video, things like that, share this with them. We can make a difference together, and that ripple can just continue to extend. So, but until next time, go out there, continue to elevate your life, elevate your brand, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Media Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. See you in the next episode.